Head of State announces the establishment of Economic Council. President visits several hinterland communities as part of a series of outreaches. The gains achieved in education locally have been recognized by international stakeholders, and Guyana now has a record number of masjids. We'll have the details of these and other presidential activities in this week's edition of the Diary for the period February 14 to February 20, 2015. I'm Paul McAdam. The nation's 150th masjid was formally opened by President Donald Ramotar on February 15 in Berbice. The Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, CIOG, on February 15 commissioned its 105th masjid to be built locally. Present for the commissioning of the number 76 village Masjid Wahida were President Donald Ramotar, Prime Minister Samuel Hines, members of Parliament, the Mayor of Kriveton, Reverend Bawasi Haripol, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, Ms. Shalimar Ali Haq. The event was described by the President as just one indication of the many freedoms gained under this administration.
We enjoy a democracy that is second to none in our region. Freedom. We can speak about the roads that we have built and the schools that we have made and the infrastructural work that we've had. But there's one thing that we cannot put a price tag to, and that is the freedom that we brought to this country. No longer are people afraid to express views. No longer are they have to look over the shoulders to see who's listening to them. No longer are security forces breaking into people's homes, not because they're criminals, but because of the views that they held and they hold in their heads. And those things too, we must not take for granted.
President Ramotar also thanked the Ali Akbar family for funding the place of worship.
And to urge the community to use it productively, use it for what it has been provided for, upliftment of the spirit, but also in giving knowledge to people from that point of view, and to use it in any and every way that will benefit the community. And that is an important contribution that this family has made, and an important contribution that you should care it, look after it properly, and ensure that you build on it so that the community can grow from strength to strength. And in the process, our country can grow from strength to strength.
The masjid was opened at the new housing scheme in number 76 village, Kriveton, Berbice. The focus on early education will redound to the nation's future benefits, says the President. The level of local attendance for children at the nursery level has been described by President Ramotar as the highest in the region. This is a reality thanks to government's policies and bodes well for the younger citizens entering the education system, the Head of State explained.
And our achievement in nursery education is the best in the whole Caribbean. We have about 85% enrollment in our nursery schools. And this is one of the best, I would not say only in the Caribbean, it is best in the Caribbean. But I will go beyond that and say I'm sure it's one of the best in the developing world at this time. And clearly we have done quite a lot to have our kids enroll, to give them an opportunity to develop. So I'm very, very proud of that achievement, that we have taken the steps and made the investment in order to ensure that our kids will have a good springboard from which to launch their lives and launch successful lives in the near future.
The President noted that over the last 5 years, much has been invested at the nursery level, with some 10 schools being built.
We have expanded nursery classes in some primary schools. In some areas where we do not have enough children to justify building a new nursery school, we have expanded the nursery sections in primary schools. And we have invested heavily in that area. We are now also producing our own materials, our own reading materials, working materials. And with this success in nursery education, we are aiming to have full literacy of our children by grade 4. So I think that that's an achievement that we have, that is not widely known, but to me it is as important as any other sector within the educational system.
Emphasis on technical subjects will better equip students for future advances as Ghana continues to develop. Government has recognized the need to adopt the education system to address future needs and developing economic trends. According to President Ramattar, this has resulted in a new focus on the STEM subjects.
The science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are very important subjects that drives social and economic development. So one of the things we are going to do is try to prepare our young people from very early stages to develop a love for these subjects. And that is why we have already started building more and more labs in our schools, beginning from primary schools. We are encouraging and using more inquiry-based science education at primary school level to encourage the children to be more inquiring in their minds. And we hope that they will be able to build from that.
The president also spoke of plans to better equip teachers to meet these demands.
To also give more scholarships to send teachers abroad to look at best practices in the rest of the world and to be able to apply those things to the development to our country.
Ghana's biodiversity, he said, can also be utilized to enhance and improve education.
We want to ensure that this will help to stimulate and drive more of our scientific development. Not only for Guyana, but this is a contribution that we can make to our region and the rest of the world, that we can attract students from different areas of the world to come here and also to study. Because our country, as you know, we have about 80% of our natural environment still intact. And that is now, in our modern world today, an enormous asset for us, and an asset that we can share with other people in other parts of the world that they can come. But fundamentally, we must also ensure that our people take this opportunity to study more into these areas and to use this to make Guyana a world-class center for inquiry of science and technology and in the development of environmental and other important subjects that is today gripping the world.
The president has been recognized for his efforts to transform the local education sector. The role of education in any country's development is recognized by many internationally. The People's Progressive Party Civic Administration's efforts, spearheaded by President Donald Ramattar and executed by the Ministry of Education, has seen the local education level rise. As Ghana develops further, its achievements in the sector have been lauded, with local students consistently copying awards across the region. The local gains have also been recognized by international stakeholders.
The Global Partnership for Education gave a grant to the government through the Ministry of Education because they recognize the great work that this country has been doing. I must say generally too that I myself was invited to sit on the United Nations Secretary General's Commission on Education, and largely because I think that was a recognition of what this country is doing for education on behalf of our children here in Guyana.
Through government's efforts, Ghana has attained universal nursery and primary education. It is expected to attain universal secondary education in the near future. The president met with hundreds of hinterland residents as he conducted outreaches in Region 9. The president embarked on outreaches to several hinterland communities from February 17 to 19 across Region 9. There he met with community leaders and interacted with residents, listening to concerns and informing them of government's plans for their future development. President Ramattar, who hails from the interior community of Carriacari, also shared how developmental gains have positively changed several communities in the hinterland since his government took office. in 1992.
The only means of transportation for us was the river itself. It wasn't bad when we were going with the tide, but when we have to come against the tide, it's not easy at all. The first PPP government bridged all the creeks and made a road. And then they started to accumulate material to make a new school for us. And then they made a health center. My mother was trained as a midwife to help with safe delivery. Every week the dispenser used to pass and you put a flag to your landing, the riverside, and they will stop if you have a sick. If you have any sick, you put a flag. All of that disappeared when the CNC went into government. The school was never built, all the bridges broke up, it was never maintained, the health center disappeared, all of that. And only when the PPP came back in government that we had to put all of these things again in place. And I would not want this country, and what happened in Carriacarea happened all over Guyana. And I would not want to see this country go back ever again. And that is why I ask you for your support so that we can build a strong country and move forward.
The president's visit was warmly welcomed by many residents across the region. You're watching The Diary, where we have been recapping the highlights of the country's president's weekly activities. More after the break. The Amalia Fault Hydropower project is essential for a vibrant manufacturing sector. Under the flagship of the LCDS, Norway has transferred earnings from its partnership with Guyana, amounting to some $80 million to the Inter-American Development Bank to fund a part of Guyana's equity share in the project. High amongst the priorities will be ensuring the achievement of more affordable and more reliable energy. Government will deliver the Amalia Fall Hydropower project along with all of its attendant benefits. It is expected that there will be an achievement of financial closure and commencement of the construction of this project during 2015. A message from the Government Information Agency. The Community Development Initiative Plan, CDP, under the Amerindian Development Fund is a project introduced by the PPPC administration to secure livelihood for the Amerindian villages and hinterland communities. Already 25 communities have received $125 million to embark on agriculture, mining and tourism projects, among several others. Additionally, 161 communities are to benefit in the second phase, which will see $1.3 billion being disbursed. A message from the Government Information Agency.
To ease traffic congestion along the East Bank Highway, which is a critical thoroughfare for accessing the city, plans are afoot to construct a new bypass linkage from Eccles to Diamond. Additionally, the feasibility study for the East Coast East Bank Bypass Road has been completed and government will be examining how to advance this huge project.
Ghana's crime fighting capacity has been boosted tremendously. A state-of-the-art forensic laboratory, the formation of the country's first ever special weapons and tactical SWAT unit, and institutional strengthening are some aspects of the sector's reforms. Capacity building has played an important role as ranks have received training both locally and overseas to effectively deal with various aspects of crime solving. A message from the Government Information Agency. A new ambassador is accredited by the head of state. Newly appointed non-resident ambassador of the Oriental Republic of Uruguay, Ana Maria Bambao Zibitini, presented her letters of credence to President Ramotar on February 19 at the presidential complex.
Over the years, our two countries have maintained very cordial relations. We share common positions on many matters, including democracy, climate change, and sustainable development. I've heard your president speak passionately on these subjects. This commonality of interest has provided the solid foundation for the relationship which we enjoy. In recent times, with the establishment of UNOSUR and CELAC, and Guyana's associate membership to Mercosur, our cooperation at the regional level has intensified. Uruguay's pro tempore chairmanship of UNOSUR will provide even more impetus as we move forward with our regional agenda.
In brief remarks, Ambassador Zapatini thanked the President for receiving and accepting her credentials.
Mr. President, I would like to express the intention of my government to strengthen the bonds of friendship with Guyana, well as political, economical, cultural, and especially start working on issues of cooperation. I know that in the coming months, Guyana will have its general elections. I would like to take this opportunity to wish the best results for the people of Guyana. Finally, I sincerely wish you and your country progress and prosperity, and look forward to enjoying full support from you and your government to advance our common agenda and deepen the strong friendship of our country.
The new ambassador will be based in Panama, where she was appointed as her country's official representative in August of 2014, having served as the Chief Directorate of State Protocol and Ceremonies of Uruguay. President reiterates impact of education on a nation's development as first local readers for primary-age children launched. The President joined Minister of Education Priya Manik Chand and other top officials of the Education Ministry for the launch of Ghana's first Atlantic Readers for primary schools. The 3 books will be used for children from grades 1 to 3 and were launched during a ceremony which was held at the Port Morant Primary School in Berbice.
At the park, they see families exercising with their pets. Some have cats and some have dogs. They spread mats on the ground and begin with floor exercises.
Mother wants to make sure that everyone takes exercise and gets enough rest so that they all can remain healthy.
President Ramotar congratulated the ministry's team for the initiative, which he said should be seen as a beginning for much more to come in the line of locally produced literature for schools. Noting the importance of this enterprise, the President said he was forced to raise the issue of affordable textbooks for school children at the United Nations level with the aim of addressing the issue of intellectual property rights.
While a lot of countries pay lip service to the importance of education, in many cases, we in the third world are at a disadvantage. Because when we buy books, we have to pay extraordinarily high prices because of the whole issue of intellectual property rights. And that is a matter that I raised, and I said that if the UN is very serious about ensuring that we have an educated world, then the whole issue of intellectual property rights must be looked into so that we in the developing world can have the books necessary to give our students a good start in life.
The Atlantic book launch was described as a first step by the President, who added that more work has to be done as the education sector provides a service to the people of Guyana.
The world has recognized the importance of education, not only in the personal benefits that it brings to one who is educated, the fact that they can appreciate other cultures, they can appreciate literature, beautiful literature, the fact that it helps them to make great choices or better choices in life. But we also see it as being extremely important in development. It has always been so, national development and international development. And it is even more so today in the world that we live in. We live in a world where we're talking about knowledge-based economy, where education must play a central role in the development of any country.
The head of state further congratulated the Education Ministry's officials for the excellent work they have been doing in the sector and encouraged them to continue in their efforts. On February 20, President Ramotar announced his establishment of an economic council, which will be headed by his predecessor. According to President Ramotar, the National Economic Council is intended to bring greater support to government in enhancing and accelerating Ghana's transformational and modernization agenda.
I have asked former President Bharat Jagdeo, who has served for a number of years as the pivot in the modernization of our economy and led in the crafting of many strategies, including the National Development Strategy, the Poverty Reduction Strategy, and the Low Carbon Development Strategy, to chair this council. More importantly, as head of state for over a decade through a most crucial and rewarding period, former President Bharat Jagdeo has much to offer and has kindly agreed to assume this responsibility as chair of the National Economic Council. Further, his growing international profile and work can be useful for this effort.
The council, the president anticipates, will give impetus to the already successful efforts of ensuring that his government continues to be responsive to the socio-economic needs of citizens.
While he has made clear his non-interest in any constitutional post, his chair of this council would ensure that we tap his vast experience and competence in making our country more prosperous. The former president will be offering his services on a pro bono basis. The work of this council will commence almost immediately. The composition and terms of reference of the council will be made public. The former president would also be assisting in the crafting of the PPP Civic Manifesto.
More of the diary after this break. The Amalia Fault Hydropower project is essential for a vibrant manufacturing sector. Under the flagship of the LCDS, Norway has transferred earnings from its partnership with Guyana, amounting to some $80 million to the Inter-American Development Bank to fund a part of Guyana's equity share in the project. High amongst the priorities will be ensuring the achievement of more affordable and more reliable energy. Government will deliver the Amalia Fault Hydropower project along with all of its attendant benefits. It is expected that there will be an achievement of financial closure and commencement of the construction of this project during 2015. A message from the Government Information Agency. The Community Development Initiative Plan, CDP, under the Amerindian Development Fund, is a project introduced by the PPPC administration to secure livelihood for the Amerindian villages and hinterland communities. Already 25 communities have received $125 million to embark on agriculture, mining and tourism projects, among several others. Additionally, 161 communities are to benefit in the second phase, which will see $1.3 billion being disbursed. A message from the Government Information Agency.
Education is a fundamental building block for human development. 22 years ago, only 32% of our children had access to education. Today, education is accessible to every Guyanese child. Some 1,000 new schools have been built or refurbished throughout the country, and university education has expanded with a new campus in Berbice. The achievement of excellence in education is no longer confined to only students in Georgetown. Now, students from other regions are successfully topping the country and the Caribbean. These achievements and investments in education have brought positive recognition for Guyana and Guyanese everywhere. Our country has achieved the Millennium Development Goal of universal primary education. It is therefore not mere coincidence that education receives the largest allocation of the national budget. This is a demonstration of government's commitment to the development of students by preparing them for the future and helping their dreams become reality. Education, flying the flag of excellence as Guyana blooms.
That's all in this week's diary for the period February 14 to February 20, 2015. Before we go, these were some of the highlights. Head of State announces the establishment of Economic Council. President visits several hinterland communities as part of a series of outreaches. The gains achieved locally have been recognized by international stakeholders in education, and Guyana now has a record number of masjids. Do join us again for the next program when we will bring you more of the President's activities. I'm Paul McAdam, thanking you for watching. For more information, contact us via email or visit our website.